This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
KFAN welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra for two amazing shows at Target Center on December 28th at 3 and 7:30 p.m. Tickets are on sale now. Get the show details, including a link to the tickets at KFAN.com, keyword calendar. Link to buy tickets at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
All right, let's dive into Fan 5 because we got to talk to Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network in the next segment.
It's time for Fan 5 on the Power Trip, presented by Builders and Remodelers.
Hey, thanks, Builders and Remodelers. In fact, Sauce, one of the first questions we can ask Tom Pelissero in the next segment has nothing to do with Vikings football, although we can talk a lot about the Vikings and the Browns in the next segment. But, this year we started a Power Trip Survivor.
Yes, we did.
Mainly because I won the Charge Challenge and you guys didn't want me to have immunity. That's fine.
And we couldn't think of any punishment.
There's always that. The picks this week are a little bit interesting. I did switch to the last second.
Yeah.
The Niners are decimated, so I swapped. I had the Cardinals all week, and then this morning I changed to the Rams. I'm like, look, the Rams better win tonight when they have Mac Jones and nobody else. So about half the teams left are on the Cardinals.
Yep.
The other half are on the Rams.
Yep.
And as you just heard, Chris made his picks earlier in the week for the rest of the season. He wanted to make sure that he didn't go Marnie on it and forget. So he made picks for the rest of the year. It looks like he forgot. Because he has the Ravens, which on paper, Ravens versus what, Texans?
Texans, who are both 1-3.
Right, not a bad pick, right? The Ravens are the better team of the two, but Lamar might not play.
And
so we're talking about Cooper Rush and essentially a coin flip.
And
I don't think he knows that.
The Vikings version of the injury report is the Ravens. They're extremely banged up.
Yep.
They're a 1.5 underdog at home.
So one of the 1.5 underdog at home, and Chris has them in Survivor.
Against a team that,
again, if Lamar plays, they're going to win. But if he doesn't, Chris might be out because he essentially fell asleep at the wheel, which happens.
Well,
that's fun.
And he doesn't care.
Hey, by the way, we've been talking all week about how the over-under for the Vikings-Browns is at 36.5, right? Lowest of the week. ProFootballTalk.com did a story. It's the lowest of the season so far through 5 weeks. Not just this week. That is the lowest total of the 2025 NFL season, 36.5. The previous low for this season was week 1. Steelers and Jets was 38. And that easily hit the over at 34-32. Paul, your hands up.
Both of their starting cornerbacks did not practice. Their best defensive player, Kyle Hamilton, is limited. Their best run stopper they put on the IR, I think season-ending IR on Tuesday. Lamar Jackson did not practice. One of their tackles was limited. Another defensive player was limited. Their center was limited. And then their fullback, who is the best guy that blocks for Derrick Henry, he didn't practice with a calf injury. Their inside linebacker didn't practice, and their starting left tackle didn't practice.
Well,
they have 14 people on the IR.
If the depleted Niners win tonight or the terrible, terrible Titans win on Sunday, we're going to lose half the field either way.
Yeah.
If Chris fell asleep at the wheel and the Ravens find a way to lose because Cooper Rush can't get it done, we could be down to 3 people by Monday.
It was last week. I don't know why. Who did the Titans played somebody last week who I was playing in fantasy? Doesn't matter. And that is a horrifically bad team.
Yeah, they've lost, 10 in a row, dating back to last year, something like that, 10 or 11?
They've lost 20-12, 33-19, 41-20, and 26-0.
Yep. Fun.
Took Baltimore. I mean, I'm out. What do I have to say?
The only reason I switched is because I know the Cardinals aren't great and the Titans are terrible.
Talked you into it a little.
Well, the injury report talked me into it. If Mac Jones had Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall tonight, I probably would not have switched.
No.
But he's got no options. He's got McCaffrey and nobody else.
The defensive line of the Rams is very good.
And they're just really short.
It'll be over by Thursday. You got that going for you.
That's a good point. Then even if I'm out, I can just stop worrying about it.
Then on Sunday, you can cheer for Houston.
Fair.
The Ravens, Hogs. the Ravens?
Yeah, the Ravens. The Gophers take on number 1 Ohio State. 6:30 this Saturday, right here on the Fan, your home for Golden Gopher football. The Ohio State Buckeyes are 23.5-point favorites. They are 4-0. The Gophers are 3-1.
Yeah.
You got to watch, right? Like I said, I just hope it doesn't screw up the SNL.
Yeah,
Start at 10:30, right on time. Don't push the 11 o'clock or the 10 o'clock news back. I hate that garbage. Get that game done in time so we can start the news at 10, SNL at 10:30.
Yeah, I think as Kenzemius broke down earlier, this is a hammer of an Ohio State team. They are good everywhere. Defensively, they're outstanding. It'll be loud. I think he said off the air, one of all the 3rd and longs their defense has faced, they've given up 3rd and 6 or longer. They've given up 1.
Well, and we're the opposite, right? All the numbers about 3rd and long, the Vikings have essentially not converted all year long.
Are you talking about the Gophers?
Sorry.
Did you say the Gophers?
Yeah, and then I do win meat sauce on it.
That's
for
okay.
sure.
Hey, I thought I wasn't listening.
Nope, I wasn't listening. I meat sauced it. Nope, I completely meat sauced that one. So they've given up 1 3rd and long all year.
All year, 3rd and 6 or longer. I think Kenzemius said off the air, Ohio State has given up 1.
And what is the number? 5.5 points a game.
Yeah,
they've given up.
Yep.
They haven't faced Drake Lindsay.
No, they haven't. And he was very good. Very good. But the Rutgers secondary is terrible. But he still looked great. I
did not care for the fact that Ben basically is like, Myles Garrett's playing.
Yeah.
He's probably right.
I didn't think he'd say he'd be more worried about this game than... I didn't think he would... That kind of caught me off guard. How about this quickly for a thing that nobody but like 4 people care about? So in the NFL draft this year, the Browns had the 2nd pick. They moved back from 2 to 5 and got a 1st-round pick in next year's draft and got the 5th overall pick. They took Mason Graham. The Jags traded up and got Travis Hunter. There are reports already that Travis Hunter is a bust. And that's...
Well, are you seeing how little he's playing on defense?
Barely, but he's not,
barely playing on offense.
He barely plays.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They gave up a ton to take him, and a lot of people took him high in fantasy leagues because of a lot of people said that he was the best wide receiver in the draft. He barely plays. I think the best play he has so far in 4 or 5 games is his blocking on a 3rd down or whatever. It's a weird bit.
I haven't seen him play at all yet this year. All I remember though is what people were concerned about beforehand, that if you're going to take him in the top 5, he has to be either an elite receiver or an elite cornerback. You can't just be really good at both, because that's a cool gimmick. You're like, cool, a really good wide receiver, a really good corner. If you're not a shutdown corner or a game-changing wide receiver, you can't take either in the top 5.
Right.
So if that's what he is, I know it's early. It's 4 games. But, hey, and the Jags are better than we all thought, too.
Yeah. They have a good coach, man.
Think if he gets better, because so far it's trending the right way. I don't know if this is one of those revival renaissance years for Trevor Lawrence or not, but everybody's really down on Trevor Lawrence. But the Jags are playing pretty well so far.
They're 3-1, and who do they...
In a terrible division as well.
In a really bad division, and who do they play this weekend? Hang on one second. Hang on, one of us.
The Gophers.
They do? They're 45-point favorites. They play... Hang on. Who do they play?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, no.
We'll talk to Tom Pelissero in a second.
No.
We'll ask him about the Lamar Jackson situation, see if Chris is screwed. We'll talk about the Minnesota Vikings injury report and the Browns game Sunday morning right here on the Fan. 8:30 kickoff, again 6:30 pregame with Muss and the rest of the Vikings pregame show, including Hawk and Sauce around 7:15. Should I set my alarm for 7:14 just in case I oversleep? Because I normally get up about 6 on Sunday.
Same.
The old body clock wakes me up, so I'll be up before that. But
it'll be great.
I'm going to set my alarm for 7:14 just in case, Paul.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear you.
Oh, that's kind of you.
We'll probably just oversleep. I don't know. Tom Pelissero next.
The Fan.
Hey, Rubes.
This football season, Bell Bank is giving one KFAN listener each week $1,000 to pay it forward to a charity of their choice. Just head over to KFAN.com, keyword contest, to learn more and enter today. That's KFAN.com, keyword contest. And by the way, this week's Bell Bank charity is Firefighters for Healing. Kenzie Silva won, and Firefighters for Healing supports burn survivors and their families. Firefighters and first responders, they seek to support guidance and education and comfort in ways that care professionals and insurance companies are unable.
All right, welcome back to the Power Trip Morning Show. It is Thursday, a little after 8:20. It's 8:25, which means it's time for Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network. Thanks to our friends at Bell Bank.
Hey!
Good morning, Tom. How are you?
Good morning. I am
Tom.
fantastic. How are you guys doing?
We're just doing fantastically well as well. Ben Lieber is in England. Chris Hockey is in England. I don't know why you can't get sent to England. NFL Network's got a budget for that. You could have done the double Ireland-England trip, but whatever. It looks like you're stuck at home.
No comment, Corey.
Oh, okay.
We'll move on to the next part.
Okay. Let's start with this. So we were just talking last segment that, we have a Power Trip survivor this year. And Chris took Baltimore, and we're pretty convinced he took him like 4 days ago.
Yeah.
I don't think Chris realizes that Lamar Jackson might not play and that Cooper Rush might start. What is the latest that you're hearing? Is Lamar slated to start or not on Sunday?
Well, here's what we know. He has a hamstring injury. John Harbaugh said there was no way he could have gone back into that game, even if the score were more competitive last week. Knowing Lamar's play style, it's hard to imagine that a hamstring injury that keeps you from returning to a game on one Sunday is magically going to heal enough for you to be out there the following Sunday. Having said that, there are a lot of examples through the course of time of Lamar Jackson not practicing most of the week and then just kind of magically healing himself and being able to be out there, whether it was through illness or injury. So it bears monitoring. We'll see if he practices at all. I would not think that he would play without practicing. And you also have to look at the schedule. They've got a bye in week 7. Hamstring injuries, depending on the grade, obviously there's some that are very severe, but even if it's a, kind of a lower grade type of hamstring, giving a guy 3 weeks off with a bye here is probably the smart thing to do. It just comes at this inflection point in the Ravens season where, if they drop these next 2 games, they're in a 1-5 hole and you're trying to climb out of it. This is also why, for the first time in a long time, they invested in a backup quarterback. They've kind of cycled through these guys, the Snoop Huntleys of the world for years. With Cooper Rush, they paid him. He got a legit, I believe it was a 2-year deal to come in there, and that was in part because he's won a lot of games in the league. He's had to play in Dallas. You look at his record as a starter. At minimum, he's able to keep you competitive with a backup quarterback. You're just hoping that guy can really go 500 in the short term for you. The fascinating part about that, though, is Cooper Rush definitely does not play the same way as Lamar Jackson. It is a pure pocket passing type of an offense, so they'd have to do a lot of things differently here. I would say right now, Thursday morning, if I had to guess, I would say that you're going to be holding your you-know-whats about Cooper Rush trying to keep you in that survivor pool.
Yeah, it's crazy, too, because, the Ravens are one of those teams on paper. They are a Super Bowl contending team. They just have had a couple of weird games. They have some injuries. They are the 6th best odds of winning the Super Bowl, and they're 1-3. Wow. They're 11-1. And I think most of it's, Tom, because you look at that division, right? Joe Burrow's not coming back anytime soon. Cleveland's a mess, as we're going to see this weekend. Pittsburgh's 3-1, but I don't know if anybody actually believes in Pittsburgh. So the division is theirs to take even at 1-3. And again, only the Bills, Eagles, Packers, Lions, and Chiefs have better odds than the Ravens to win.
Well, and you'd also say the only game where they've been outclassed was this past week. The Chiefs just played better. They got Xavier Worthy back. They were the better team. The other 2 games, not to pit it on one guy, but Derrick Henry fumbles in both those games, and it's they easily could be 3-1, but for one of your best players coughing up the football. The real issue for Baltimore though is that defense. They've been terrible, but then you look at their injury report and you realize at least part of the reason they've been terrible. I want to say they had like 9 returning Pro Bowl players from a year ago, and like 6 of them are hurt right now. There's all kinds of Marlon Humphrey's not going to play this week, probably going to be out for a couple of weeks. Roquan Smith is out right now. Nanda Madubuike is out for the season, which is a big deal. Kyle Van Noy's been out. You're going like a who's who of who's on that team. Nate Wiggins got banged up last week. I mean, that's a ton of your starters on defense. They're patchworking it. You may have to go out there and score 40 points every week right now with where they are from an injury perspective. And without Lamar Jackson, it's going to be a lot harder to do.
Hey, Tom, yesterday I think it was yesterday that they named Dylan Gabriel the starter, and then they were interviewing Shedeur Sanders in the locker room, and he did this like miming bit. What do you make of all of that and kind of the way that Sanders has handled this whole situation?
I want to say this carefully here, Sauce, but I think that every week that passes, you see another reason that Shedeur Sanders won the 5th round.
Yeah.
And that's not because he can't play. It's, in hindsight, there was all this pushback on it's not going to be a problem. You're not going to deal with it. People are overthinking it. And, it's like last week he comes out and says, hey, most teams be starting me right now, but, I guess not here. And, then that gets some blowback. And then so yesterday he goes and, is conducting an interview, but not actually talking. I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
It's
and
very weird.
With a third-string quarterback, who doesn't love your third-string quarterback to be the center of attention? This should be a big day for Dylan Gabriel stepping in, getting his opportunity, a guy that they really like. I mean, if you think about how Kevin Stefanski wants to play offense, it's just see it and rip it. It's rhythm passing. Guys are going to be open. Just get the ball out of your hands. That's not really Shedeur's game. Shedeur's an extend the plays, try to create something down the field player. He did have some success, obviously, in that that preseason opener. It's preseason, but it was impressive. It's the reason that he's still on the roster right now, even though the following week he was banged up and didn't play in the second preseason game. But with Dylan Gabriel, he's the guy who profiles like a Kevin Stefanski quarterback. The only reason that he fell to the 3rd round was size. He's 5'11". It's not the shortest quarterback in the NFL. Guys like Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray have played good football at a reduced height. But, that's just something that works against him. Plus, he's a left-handed quarterback. That's not for everyone. But the way that the Browns look at it is this guy might be Bo Nix, just a few inches shorter. If he can play that same way, he's played a ton of football. He broke Bo Nix's record for college starts. He broke his record for total. He had 188 total touchdowns, 6 years of college. I don't know how many degrees he came out with, but he had a lot of productivity at the college level. Let's see. The other issue here is the moment that Dylan Gabriel gets on the field, it does start the clock ticking from a public and media perception standpoint of when is Shedeur going to get a shot. Shedeur was never going to leapfrog Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel was the 3rd round pick. Shedeur was the 5th. They both had good moments. They both had rocky moments through the course of camp. And, now Dylan Gabriel gets his shot. But that, it won't be as much of a factor this week in London. But when they come back to Cleveland, and if Gabriel, has some bumps in the road, people are going to be calling for Shedeur. There's going to be more Shedeur Sanders jerseys in the crowd than Dylan Gabriel jerseys, and that's just a fact. So it was a really weird. It's a weird thing to do. Like it's not damaging. The other scenario would have been he comes out and just says, "Well, I should be starting over Dylan Gabriel," which is a bigger problem.
Yeah.
But it's still weird, and it's just part of this pattern of whether it's a lack of self-awareness or a lack of maturity. It's just kind of he keeps putting themselves in situations where we're talking about someone who, just from an organizational standpoint, you generally don't want to be being talked about, which is your 3rd-string quarterback.
Yeah, and self-awareness is the key, because what ESPN was saying yesterday was that his mime stunt was in response to Rex Ryan basically saying Shedeur Sanders should keep his mouth shut and stop talking. So,
and Rex was, I watched that clip yesterday. Right. That's over the top. I mean, listen,
sure.
I get it. Rex is a former, coach in the league. That felt, to me, I'm not criticizing Rex, but
right.
It felt like we were going over the line into the personal area, which is, going back to the pre-draft process where I caught a lot of flack for the things that I reported and wrote, just talking to people within the league. But those were the objectively true facts. People did not have good interactions with Shedeur Sanders in the pre-draft process. There were questions about how is he going to function outside an environment where his dad's his coach, like he has been since going back to high school and youth football. The accountability structures are just different when now you're in a different building. And, whether it's, these are minor transgressions, but they're part of the broader picture. You go out and you get 2, high level of speeding tickets, early on in through the thing. You have multiple, little injuries that pop up. Like, I don't know, is he, fully taking care of his body the way that he needs to? Is he just kind of get away with the same stuff he did in college? I don't have the answers to that, but what he said last week, what he didn't say yesterday, it's just, these are just all part of the Shedeur Sanders experience.
Yeah.
I have no doubt. Listen, I believe we'll see Shedeur Sanders play at some point this season. Jimmy Haslam said that back in camp. He said, we got to see these guys. And that is part of a bigger picture here, which is a Browns team that whether they call it a rebuild or not, they're rebuilding. Their draft class has been really good.
Real good.
Mason Graham, Carson Schlesinger is a dude. He's been unbelievable. Quinshon Judkins, now that he's on the field, the other back that they took, Harold Fannin, Isaiah Bond, who they signed as an undrafted free agent, like those are building block type of pieces. You got to figure out, do you have something in Dylan Gabriel? Do you have something in Shedeur Sanders? If you don't, you're sitting on 2 first-round picks next year because you got the Jaguars pick from the Travis Hunter trade, and the Browns pick might be a pretty high one, depending how the rest of the season goes here. You're going to have the opportunity to go out and draft a quarterback in 2026. You have to get an evaluation for 2025. And to the extent that anybody's focused in on, well, why isn't Shedeur the 2? Shedeur should not want to be the 2 this week. You should not want to be in a position where you didn't get any of the reps. They're giving all the reps to Dylan Gabriel this week. You shouldn't want it to be, hey, third quarter, it's a competitive game. Shedeur, go out there and you haven't thrown to any of these guys all week and you're completely going off mental reps. You shouldn't want that. When it's Shedeur Sanders' time, he'll ascend to a different position on the depth chart. Right now, he's still the 3, and I'm really fascinated to see what Dylan Gabriel can do as the first rookie quarterback to ever make his first start in an international game, and going up against a Brian Flores defense. It should be fun.
Not to keep hammering Shedeur because we've already talked 10 minutes more about him than we probably should have, but just to go back to the Rex Ryan thing, if Rex Ryan says basically, hey, Shedeur, keep your mouth shut, we don't need to hear from him, and you want to do the mime trick and troll him, if you're Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, if you're an established quarterback, we could sit here and go, like, is it worth it, like, getting into a meme fight or a mime fight in this case, I guess, with Rex Ryan? You'd say, just move on. But it just looks so like a lack of self-awareness where it should be about Dylan Gabriel and your opportunities and
you're on a team.
You're on a team, but instead you're worried about what Rex Ryan is saying about, and you're acknowledging that he's getting to you by doing the mime thing. I don't know, man. He can't help himself, and that's what basically I saw the entire panel on that show yesterday say is like Shedeur's just got to get somebody in his ear to say like, would you stop worrying about everything else and just go freaking play football? But I don't know if the kid's ever going to get it.
It was out of his own mouth last week. Other places I'd be playing a lot of people be playing me now, but I'm not playing here. Well, I mean, you told multiple teams not to draft you, including the Ravens, who this week, need a backup quarterback to play. Now, it probably would have been Cooper Rush. They'd already signed him by the time we got to the draft. But, you chose, to a degree, you at least tried to influence the process once he wasn't a high draft pick to try to get to a place where he thought he had a shot to get on the field. But listen, 5th-round quarterbacks don't start. It doesn't happen. It's extremely rare, that you have a Brock Purdy, which was, I believe, during his first year, or you have a Tom Brady who really got his opportunity in his, second year. Like, there's just not a lot of opportunities or, instances of that through the course of time. You're in this spot, man. Like it's again, I don't want to hammer Shedeur because everybody says like he's not a bad guy. Like people like him. Everything I've heard in the building, they kind of shrug their shoulders and shake their heads at this stuff. But like he's good on a day-to-day basis. But my question would just be, how hard is it to, when you're asked about it, just go, hey man, love Dylan Gabriel, fired up for him. My opportunity's coming, but I'm gonna do everything to support him this week. That's it.
Yeah.
We'd all love the more interesting answers, but is a mime routine going to help you in the big picture?
No.
I don't know that any of these things help you in the big picture.
Hey, Tom, how do you think the Travis Hunter experiment is going?
Well, he's got, I think, 13 catches, no touchdowns, and he's defended 1 pass on defense. So you'd say right now that you're not getting maybe the instant impact, the splash that you would anticipate getting from any player at a skill position up at the top of the draft. I think it's way too soon to say this is a bust. They made a mistake to trade up for him. I mean, Travis Hunter is taking on something we've never seen anyone take on. He's playing offense one half, defense another half. He's going back and forth. He's playing like 80 snaps a game. That's a challenge, man. And it goes back to something that, as much as Travis kept saying in the pre-draft process, I can do it. I played 140 snaps, 160 snaps a game in college. I can do it in the pros. Absolutely want to do it. I talked to a lot of coaches, head coaches about this, and everybody had different things that they raised of like how hard this is going to be. It's not just the stamina and the conditioning. Travis Hunter clearly has that part, but it's the detail. Anytime you're a rookie coming into the league, the detail that goes into route running and the nuances of the offense and the checks, or defensively, all the checks that you're making there and the nuances and the detail of your technique, like it's around the clock type of an undertaking. Now you're trying to do that double. You're trying to play both positions. The reason that they traded up to number 2 is they thought they've got a really unique guy who's going to be able to impact the game in both ways. I'm not going to sit here after 4 games and question the way that they went about it. It'll be interesting to see as the season goes on, coming out of the bye, going into year 2, do they adjust some things in terms of what they're putting on his plate. But right now, the guy's drinking from a fire hose. We know that he's a really talented player. He's not the biggest guy on the field, and he never will be, but he competes. He's certainly got ball skills. Let's see, do they kind of utilize him in different ways? I'd also mention, this is not like it's a bad Jaguars team. They're winning games right now. So what they're doing in the big picture, clearly is working. But listen, he's on a team right now where Travis Etienne's been one of the most fascinating stories in the entire league this year, going from a guy that people didn't even think was going to start to be one of the top backs in the league. You got Brian Thomas Jr. there. You've got Brenton Strange. You got a lot of mouths to feed on offense, and defensively, they got other guys that they're trying to get going. Like, I get it. There's a plan. It's not a 4-game plan. It's a 4-year plan. Let's see where this thing goes. But, to the extent of what do we think we were going to get, we probably thought we were going to get a bunch of highlights, a bunch of viral plays. That hasn't happened yet. I imagine that they're coming at some point here, but he's taken on a lot, and you're probably seeing a little bit of that.
All right, final thing or two for Tom Pelissero, NFL Network. Thanks to our friends at Bell Bank. Again, Vikings and Browns, Sunday, 8:30 right here on the Fan, 6:30 pregame. What are you looking for? What did I say?
Oh my God!
I thought I dropped ESPN or something. And you're like,
no, you can listen to PA and have the sound off. Although I guess ratings aren't impacted by sound, so sure, mute our guys.
There you go. All right, so 6:30 pregame, 8:30 kickoff. What are you watching for? What injuries concern you on both sides? What strategies should both teams be employing based on who they're facing Sunday morning?
Well, the Vikings injury situation is not great. The offensive line, Brian Kelly's not going to play this week. Obviously, the rookie guard is not going to play this week. And Brian O'Neill's not going to play. So your backup center also, Juergens is still not practicing either. So you might have a third string center and a backup guard and a backup right tackle in front of Carson Wentz against what might be the best defense in the league. And that's not hyperbole. I know Myles Garrett didn't practice yesterday because of an ankle. Miles has a lot of Wednesdays off. If he's not out there the next couple of days, I'll get concerned. But there's a lot of weeks where Miles isn't practicing on Wednesdays. They're, by and large, obviously they've got some guys that haven't been available all season for them. But by and large, they're pretty healthy on that side of the ball. And again, they got some young guys who are really impressive on that defense as well. So the offensive line is the biggest concern to me. How they use Myles Garrett. Obviously, Christian Darrisaw is rounding into form here, probably getting closer to 100% than he was when he first went out there. That's a good thing. But anytime you got 3 backup offensive linemen, that's a huge concern. To me, if I'm Kevin O'Connell, this is kind of a pivotal game in the season too, because you're coming off obviously the loss in Dublin. You're 2-2. You've played 2. Or at least 1.5, if you consider the second half of the Bears game, good games. And you played 2 not good games at all. Obviously, the Vikings made it really competitive last week, in part because the way that the Steelers tried to manage that end of the fourth quarter. But they haven't played well in 2 of these games. So 3-2 and 2-3 going into your bye is going to feel a lot different, especially because when the schedule came out, you were thinking, we got an opportunity to turn 2 road games into 2 neutral site games. We should be able to get these. You got to get a win over the Browns. It's as simple as that. So for Kevin O'Connell, I'm thinking, how do I utilize my best players? How do I, despite the protection issues, despite the injuries, how do I get the ball to Justin Jefferson? How do I get to Jordan Addison more than a week ago? TJ Hawkinson, those are my guys. Like, how do I, Adam Thielen too, when he's in the game on third downs, how do I get the ball in those guys' hands and just try to make this as easy of a game as I possibly can under tough circumstances for Carson Wentz? Defensively, obviously we've been watching Andrew Van Ginkel through the course of this week and whether he's able to go. The impact that he's able to make is pretty significant, when he's out there and when he's healthy. So, all those are injury factors here, but, probably the biggest factor in this game is just how does Dylan Gabriel handle the pressure? They're going to design a game plan, I'm sure, that involves just getting the football out of his hands as quickly as possible, not letting Brian Flores cloud the picture. But Flo's about as good as anybody in the league at throwing different stuff at people. And in this case, you got a guy who's played a lot of football, but it was a lot of college football. Let's see, what type of, does he flood the zones and drop everybody, or does he come at this kid? I'd imagine it's going to be a mix, and it'll be fun to see exactly what he draws up.
Appreciate it, Tom. Talk to you next week, man.
Thanks, fellas.
All right, there's Tom Pelissero, NFL Network. Thanks to our friends at Bell Bank.
That was great. He knows a lot.
He does know a lot.
Yeah.
He knows considerably more than the two of us combined.
Oh, yeah. Especially about football.
Sure. And probably other things.
Do you think he would have taken the Ravens in a Survivor League?
It sounds like no.
Yeah.
Now it's time for Headlines.
Headlines brought to you by my friends at Wolf River Electric and wolfriverelectric.com. Go solar. Get those solar panels put on in 2025. They're awesome. The panels are sweet. The people are nice. They'll walk you through it if you want to get a free quote. All that stuff. Go to wolfriverelectric.com. Thanks, Wolf River Electric. A 17-year-old boy in Florida fabricated his own abduction and even went so far to shoot himself in the leg.
What?
Hey, man, if you get abducted, you might get hurt. So he's saying, like, if I'm going to fake my abduction, I'm going to shoot myself in the leg and make it look like I really got roughed up.
Why go through that at all?
I don't know. I mean, there's got to be some kind of a sympathy vibe or a financial vibe. You got to do something, right? It's either for attention or for money.
Yeah. I love attention, but I ain't shoot myself in the leg.
Would you for money?
How much?
How about attention and money? Like if you got shot in the leg,
that's kind of my goal.
You have a good level of regional fame. You get shot in the leg, it's going to be on every major TV station in the Twin Cities, right? KFAN's meets shot in the leg. So you're going to get a lot of attention.
Yeah.
What if somebody says you're also going to get paid? Like $50K in a week of coverage.
How bad is the injury?
It's a gunshot wound to the leg.
Does it mess up my calves?
I thought you were going to say like your, reps or your exercise.
My what?
Right. I mean, those are calves of steel.
Yeah. I don't know.
A woman
do it.
A woman in Kentucky is accused of damaging a Little Caesars restaurant after she learned that the extra sauce wasn't free.
What?
I like that. Out of about 90% of headlines, I read the headline and Sauce goes, "What?" Just shocked and surprised after everyone. Paul, your hands up.
The Little Caesars lady, Woodhawk.
Well, yeah, she's hot and ready.
And pissed. Well played.
Yeah, but Chris would pay for the extra sauce because he doesn't care.
Is Little Caesars, is that still their bit, hot and ready? Because they're the pizza of the NFL. I thought whoever got a hold of Little Caesars and turned it around has done a really good job. Because Little Caesars, when it first came out, was outstanding. Then it kind of hit a rough patch. Now it's kind of back.
That was a hell of a ride we just went on.
Thank you. It's no 7th Avenue pizza.
But I feel like that was a documentary on Little Caesars.
Yeah. When it first came out, good. Then it hit a real weird
But now
area.
they're back.
I think so.
A Piggly Wiggly cashier in South Carolina gave a woman the wrong lottery ticket.
Oh, no.
But the gal, instead of saying like, hey, this is the wrong one, she's like, whatever, I'll just keep this one. It doesn't matter. Not the end of the world. And she won $300,000.
Did she go back and give that lady some cash?
I think you'd have to give her some kind of a tip.
Yes,
him or her.
yes.
You'd have to.
Zach, do you like those gas stations?
Piggly Wiggly?
Yeah.
I've never been to one.
Aren't Piggly Wiggly's grocery stores, not gas stations? I'm pretty sure they're grocery stores.
In the show Corey and I are watching, they mention Wawa.
Wawa's great.
That's a gas station, right?
Yes. But it's like on steroids.
Yeah.
So you guys know that a lot of fast food joints now are starting to integrate AI into the drive-thru.
Yes.
In some shape or form.
They have for a while, though.
But it's not all, it's not like universal. They're all starting to kind of dip their toes into it. Like, how can we make this more efficient? How can we make this better by using AI? Can we get the fast food process through quicker? I think it's kind of interesting. Last year, before I tell you what this year's is, last year, what do you think the average time to go through a drive-thru was across all U.S. drive-thrus?
Oh, good question.
So you got to factor in the ones that have no lines because nobody likes going anymore, and you go right through. And then there's other ones where there's significant waits because they're popular as hell.
1 minute.
You think it's 1 minute on average?
Yeah.
That is to order, to drive up, to get your food, to pay. You think a minute?
Minute and a half.
Okay, you're going 1 minute and a half. Man, you must DoorDash a lot.
I've never used DoorDash.
Zachary.
I was going to say 3.5.
You're going to go 3.5.
But I went through one of those Chick-fil-A mobile throughs the other day. The line was like legitimately 15 cars.
There's never been a more popular.
And I drove right through the mobile through line, right to the front, past all of them. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Use the app.
So last year, the average drive-through time in the U.S., 5 minutes, 26 seconds.
I was way off.
Yep. I was like, 1 minute. Where are you going?
Oh,
5 minutes and 26 seconds. However, since some of these fast food joints have started to add AI to find ways to go faster, the average is now 9 seconds slower.
What?
So, what?
What?
Fourth straight headline you've just said.
Well, think how long it took bonus the other day to get in here.
Fair. But just in general, isn't that interesting that so far they haven't figured out how to use it to maximize efficiency? They're just going to have to slow roll it like everybody else. Because a lot of us are trying to figure out, how do I make my life more efficient with AI?
I'll say this, and I'm not paid to say this, and you didn't tell me to say this. I went to your spot yesterday, the one in Eagan, after I dropped Kelly and Louie off at the airport.
My spot being Raising Cane's.
Raising Cane's. I went to the one in Eagan. I ordered. I didn't want the toast.
What?
Yeah.
What?
What? Because
so what did you get? You didn't get coleslaw, did you?
No, I got extra sauce.
Oh, my
the
God.
sauce is
You're
the
doing
best
it
part.
wrong.
No, I'm not.
That's
but I'm just saying.
What a
they
rookie.
Thank you, Zach. They handed me the cup.
It's a bad deal, though, for you.
I turned around, filled up my drink, and by the time I turned back around, before I walked out, it was fresh, hot, and ready.
Yeah, they're the best.
Outstanding. It was so good. I'm trying to convince myself not to go back there today. That's how good it is.
You shouldn't get the extra sauce because sauce is like 35 cents.
But I didn't even eat the coleslaw.
Well, of course, because it's rabbit puke.
Don't get the coleslaw.
Again,
Well, the
even
coleslaw's
Todd Graves.
outstanding.
No, it's not. Even Todd Graves,
No,
the
it's not.
founder and owner of Raising Cane's, is like hard pass.
Yeah,
on
but-
his own coleslaw. He's like, I don't understand coleslaw, but people seem to like it.
Yeah.
Even
But
he
it's
was like,
outstanding.
no slaw extra
So
toast.
good
He
for
gets
Tuesday.
it. Yep.
So good. What's Tuesday?
Cane's is coming in on Tuesday.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, then I won't go.
The guy on the Pringles can has a name. Guess?
Pete Pringle.
I mean, you're very close.
Pat Pringle. Pringle Chip.
Sminny
Chip Pringle.
Ooh, Chip Pringle is a very creative name, but that is incorrect.
Bend over.
Pringles? Bend over Pringles?
Yeah.
Candy.
Anita Bath.
His name is Julius Pringles.
Come on. How highfalutin is he? Favorite kind of Pringles go.
Sour cream
and onion.
Which
not
is
even
so
close.
weird because you guys would vomit if sour cream was on your plate.
Same
And
thing,
onion.
100%. Same
And
thing.
onion.
I've never had barbecue sauce in my life. I love barbecue chips. I've never had the sauce, never will. Sour cream and onion would make me throw up. They're my favorite chips. Sour cream and onion Pringles. Although Stacks were better.
Yeah, Stacks.
What happened to Stacks? They're gone. They're not even in Target anymore.
Yeah. You guys.
Stacks were better than Pringles. I still like Pringles, but I was on Team Stacks and none of they disappeared.
Yeah, you guys are weird.
I wonder if Julius Pringles slipped a little money to Target and said, "Can we get the Stacks off this shelf, please?"
Do you think somebody today who's going to work at like Kemp's right across the street, great spot, do you think they work with as many weird eaters as I work with?
You're surrounded by freaks.
Hawk won't eat in front of people. There's a multitude of things you won't eat. Same with Zach. Same with Brett. Same with Tenna.
Yeah, we got weird eaters here, for sure.
Which is fine, but maybe I should cut back on a few things.
Coleslaw. What's wrong with you?
I love coleslaw. Always have. It's delicious. I got to find somewhere to go because nobody's at my house.
Who goes to Cane's and says, "I don't want more toast"?
I also
It's
didn't
10
eat,
out of 10.
I also didn't eat the sixth finger.
Is Nordo coming over on Saturday? Did you ever
He
get an
hasn't
update on
responded.
that?
He's never said anything.
Maybe bring that sixth finger and see what happens.
Hey, yo.
All right, initials tomorrow, $100,000, $500 up for grabs at the St. Paul Federal Credit Union initials jackpot. That's at 8:15. Alicia Lewis from Care 11's going to play. She's the best. Be good to see her. Hawk will check in from England. 9 to noon is next.
To listen back to today's Power Trip Morning Show or to hear previous shows, podcast us on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.